Good morning, students. As in my previous session, I've explained you how implementation of Rowlatt Act by the Britishers led to a widespread movement in country. But as you all know, that movement was limited only to certain cities and towns. So today in this session, I'm going to explain you that how Mahatma Gandhi tried his best to convince all the leaders to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as for Swaraj. Well, children, Mahatma Gandhi, in his famous book Hind Swaraj, wrote that British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians. That means that he said that Britishers had survived in India only because of the cooperation of the Indians. If Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. So Gandhiji proposed that the movement should unfold in stages, means it should be step by step. So according to Mahatma Gandhi, the movement should begin with the surrender of titles that the government awarded and a boycott of civil services, army, police, courts and legislative councils along with schools and foreign goods. And children, you won't believe, to make this movement a successful movement, Mahatma Gandhi in 1922 during summer time along with Shaukat Ali, he toured extensively, mobilizing a popular support for the movement. Now, that was a time when Congress was reluctant to boycott the council elections. Means they did not wanted to participate in the council elections which was scheduled for November 1920. So between September and December, there was a intense tussle between the Congress. And finally, at Congress session at Nagpur in December 1920, a compromise was worked out and the non-cooperation program was adopted. Now the children question arises that who all will participate in this movement? Then how did the different social group conceive the idea of non-cooperation? So do you know, when this movement, a non-cooperation movement along with Khilafat movement began in January 1921, various social groups participated in this movement and each one had their own specific aspiration. All of them responded to the call of Swaraj, but the term meant different things to different people. Means the term Swaraj was interpreted according to their own ways. So if we take this non-cooperation movement, how it went on in the towns. So children, that was a time when the movement started. The middle class participated in the cities where thousands of students, they left government controlled schools, colleges, headmasters, teachers, they resigned, lawyers, they gave up their legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in most of the provinces. And you know, it was during this time that foreign goods were boycotted. Liquor shops were picketed. And foreign cloth burnt in huge bonfires. Means the people, they totally refused to use the foreign goods. Liquor shops were not allowed to sell the liquors. And foreign clothes were burnt in a bonfire. And the import of foreign cloth halved between 1921 and 22. It means that its value dropped from rupees 102 crore to rupees 57 crore. And children, in many places, merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods. As the boycott movement spread, people began discarding imported clothes and preferred wearing only Indian ones. That is, production of Indian textile mills and handlooms went up, which was a very good sign. But the problem was that this movement in the towns and cities gradually slowed down for a variety of reasons. And if we talk about those reasons, the very first is khadi cloth was more expensive than mass produced mill cloth. And children, poor people, they could not afford to buy khadi. So how long they could boycott mill cloth? Similarly, if we talk about the boycott of British institution, that posed a big problem. Like for the movement to be successful, and alternative Indian institution was required to be set up, let's say in place of the British ones, so that the children, the students, the teachers, they can go back to their, or the students could be taught and teachers could go back to their jobs. But these were slow, very slow. So students and teachers, they began trickling back to government schools, and lawyers joined back work in government courts. That means the movement started with maximum participation of the people in the towns and cities, but the problem was up to what extent they could resist this movement. Somehow they need let's say, things to survive. So if they boycott the foreign goods or schools or colleges, then they didn't have any other parallel schools or colleges where the students or the teachers, or let's say the things which could be sold in the prices less than what the Britishers were selling. So very slowly and steadily this movement, it came to an end in the towns. Thank you.